really love your background, man. What is that?
Which thing? You talking about the video games or the flex?
Oh, it's the video games. It's boxes of video games?
So there's two companies that make retro recreation of games. So like these, not that I meant for this interview to do this. This actually works. It's made by a company called New Wave Toys, and I could turn it on and I could actually play it.
Fantastic.
And I love arcade games, but the biggest issue is that they take up too much space, and I don't have the space, but I can fit these recreations, and they're amazing. And there's another company that makes, these are 6 scale, and there's another company that makes quarter scales, the ones up here.
Fantastic.
And they all work. They're amazing.
Good.
Yeah, in case you decide you want to start collecting video games like I have.
Okay, I'll let you know if I do it.
Right. So jumping into, I get to talk to you. So
Yeah.
I have a ton of questions about the movies, but I like throwing some curves at the beginning. You've made a number of things in your career. If someone has never seen anything you've done, what is the first thing you'd like them watching and why?
I think I'm very keen to show a family in an extraordinary situation. I think that's kind of my DNA, you know? And if you see all my movies, there's always a family going through a very challenging and difficult journey, you know? And the way that the story, shaped them and the way that they transform themselves, it's one of the things that I feel most attached to tell to the audience.
So which of your resume would you like people to watch first?
I think, my first movie, Intacto, it's kind of a declaration of the things that I love and how I love supernatural scenarios and esoteric rules. So I'm very keen to show in this kind of peculiar worlds and universes, real characters and real human beings, I would say that's kind of my thing.
I was going to make a joke, but how much fun is it to be the director of a movie when you get to feature a dragon?
It's so fun, but it takes a lot of time. At the same time, I have to tell you, it's a very long process. You have to be so patient. But at the end of the day, it's worth, because you see something completely unreal and something that you would never imagine. So it's a dream come true to have a dragon in your movie because you can see all the nuances and little things that you've been thinking for a while suddenly portrayed in this kind of beast. So I think it was a blast for me to create this dragon for Damsel.
How much, when you're doing something, listen, I love dragons and I love when dragons are featured. I do think that's one of the reasons why Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon is so popular. There are dragons, besides everything else.
Yeah.
But how much are you looking at other movies like Dragonheart or, all the things that have had dragons and seeing this works, I like this, and how much, you know what I mean? Like, where are you drawing from and where are you like, oh, that was a bad example?
I mean, I've been in a lot of dragon movies, as you can imagine, but I try to be faithful with the story of this dragon, particularly to design how it's going to look like. And having in mind that, there is a very important background story that we tell in the movie, I think that was the core to shape the dragon and to design, this beautiful creature in the movie. And we try, obviously, as a filmmaker, I love always to be original and unique. But in this case, I think we were so loyal to the concept and to the story that we're telling, which is this kind of dragon who is thirsty for revenge, and I think that shaped the whole thing. And it was a challenge, as I told you before. But I'm so excited to share this now with the audience because I think it's really unique. I think it's a dragon that you never seen before.
I also, one of the other things I think the audiences are going to enjoy is the fact that this script flips the whole fairy tale on its head. It's a good stepmom. The list goes on and on. She has to save herself. Can you sort of talk about that aspect of the script?
Yeah, that was one of the things that when I read the script for the first time, I was so in love because I think it completely breaks down all these stereotypes about fairy tales and it shows something new and modern. And I think it was really good to show this to the new generations, especially, because I think it's a proper revision from these classic tales. And I felt that it was the right time to do this now and make this movie in such a kind of unique way with this kind of beautiful new modern take on this fairy tale.
So I love talking about editing because it's where it all comes together. So how did this film change in the editing room in ways you didn't expect?
I would say that every single movie changes in the editing process, because editing is almost like writing, you know? And in fact, always I say that you write the movie in 3 steps: when you're writing it, when you're shooting it, and when you're editing. So the editing is massively important. And yes, we change a lot of things, because making a movie, it's almost like it's a research. You're exploring a world. You're kind of digging into a universe, and you need to adapt and adjust many things. And working with John Gilbert, the editor of Lord of the Rings, was a privilege for me, because he has, the background and the knowledge to really shape things and move things around to create this kind of beautiful dark fantasy story that we did.
Who gave you the best? I'm sure you showed this to friends and family, other filmmakers. Who gave you the best feedback or the best notes and said something that you're like, oh shit, this is real. I gotta fix this.
I think, it was almost like an advice in the very beginning of the process when I was kind of designing and prepping the script. And it was coming from a friend of mine who is also a filmmaker. And he told me, you know what, don't forget that despite of the fact that this is a fantasy movie with a lot of supernatural things, a lot of visual effects, don't forget that you have to track all the way what your protagonist is feeling in every single scene. And you have to show to the audience, you have to convey to the audience what she's feeling all the time. And that was kind of a mantra for me in this movie. And for that reason, I decided to track Elodie in every single scene with the camera. And the camera, as you can notice, is really close to her, because I really wanted for the audience to experience what she's going through.
When you saw the shooting schedule, what day did you have circled in terms of, I can't wait to film this? And what day was circled in terms of, how the F are we going to film this?
So I would reply the second one first, because it's kind of like an immediate thing that I thought, which is the day that we're going to shoot the moment that Elodie is stuck in one of the caves and she cannot move. I was so scared, because I knew that Millie Bobby Brown has claustrophobia. And that's not easy to overcome if you have to shoot in that place. So we designed the whole thing with a lot of things to help her, and I had a really long conversation with her, and I was almost close to her, holding her hand, because I knew that it will be a challenge for her. But she behaved in such a beautiful way. She completely jump into the water and overcome her fear in such a beautiful way. And it's there, it's in the movie. The suffering that you see in the movie, it's real. She was kind of touching something that it's really tricky for her. So that was the difficult day, I would say. And the day that I pointed out, like, oh my God, this is gonna be like a dream come true, is the meeting between Lady Bayford and Queen Isabella with Angela Bassett and Robin Wright. To have those 2 actresses colliding to each other and having this kind of duel was a dream come true, because, I love them since I was a young filmmaker. I dreamt a lot about working with them. So having them in that scene was a blast. Also, I like the way you worked in colliding or collider or whatever. And I think that having them in the movie also adds a lot of people who are now going to watch it, who are fans of their work. It's great casting. I'm almost out of time with you. I read, could be wrong, that you're involved in a Sword in the Stone live action remake or a version. Is that true, or am I completely off base? I was attached a long time ago, and I prep a lot for Disney for that movie, but I don't know exactly what happened, but the studio decided to hold the project. So it's kind of right now it's in a holding situation, and I don't know what is going to happen, to be honest. But I think it's a great story, and I would be so keen to make it if they decided to greenlight the project, I have a lot of friends who are in the same boat as that. Yeah, that's great.
Have prepped for a long time, and then all of a sudden, we'll see.
But as you can imagine, this industry is always, dealing with many projects, and you don't know exactly which are the ones who are going to make it. So, sure. Yeah, Sword in the Stone, I really hope that happens, because I think there is a very fan base waiting for that.
I agree with you. I got to stop, and I'm just going to say I really hope it's a huge hit for you. I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you so much, my friend.